In this episode of Cloud Performance Atlas, I help some educators with their TCP window sizes. Will their networking performance make the grade? Stay tuned to find out. Tutorama is a platform which provides crowdsourced instructional videos to help teach people how to do everything from properly walking a dog to filing their taxes. In order to handle a massive spike in video content, they recently upgraded their connection between their on-prem setup and Google Cloud platform. But despite their fancy new connection, their performance didn't seem to improve in the way they expected. Running iPerf between their local servers and a GCP instance was only getting about 1.1 megabits a second. Now, we've already seen that this is way below what GCP can support in terms of transfer speeds. So we went down the list, checking their core count, if they were using the right IP, and what regions they were optimizing for. And by the way, if you want to run those same tests, check out the videos linked in the description. Sadly, none of these things had an impact on their performance. As such, I took this problem to a few of our networking gurus, and after some thought and debate, they all pointed me in the same direction, to something called bandwidth delay product. See, TCP protocol uses specific window sizes that define how much data to send between endpoints before needing an acknowledgement. When your endpoints are physically close to each other, this information can be sent and acknowledged quickly. But as that distance increases, so does the time it takes for the destination to acknowledge a window of data, since we end up getting capped by physics. But here's the important part. Anytime an endpoint is forced to wait for an acknowledgement of a packet, it creates gaps in the data flow, which then limits the performance of the connection. As such, it's really important to fine-tune the TCP window sizes of a connection so that either side doesn't end up waiting for these situations. Now, to be fair, most modern OSs do a good job of auto-tuning the TCP buffer sizes, but in some cases, the default values are still too small. And as it turns out, the Tutorama networking engineers had already adjusted these windows based on their previous connection speeds. So to figure out how the new setup was performing by default, we set up a test from their system without any adjusted windows and saw a whopping 90 megabits per second for external IP access. From there, we used a few online calculators to try to find better values for the TCP windows, but quite frankly, the defaults for the GCP instances produced the best results for the Tutorama team. At this point, the only advice I could give them was, don't touch the defaults. Now, I don't say that very often, but a 90x improvement is really hard to beat. If you'd like more details on this problem, check out the full article in the description below, and make sure to subscribe to our Google Cloud YouTube channel to get alerts when new performance videos come out. And don't forget, when it comes to performance, every millisecond counts.